Welcome to the Ho-Ho Show, rated the #1 most listened to podcast on Pluto. So join us now as we discuss news, politics, current events, and so much more. So clear the airways and strap in as we defend the Constitution. Because freedom matters.
We are broadcasting live from the Cottage Studio, so welcome to the Ho-Ho Show, and as always, I am your host, Ho-Ho. All right, guys. So, welcome everybody. Welcome Spreaker. Welcome Twitch, YouTube, Mixer, Periscope, and Facebook. How y'all doing today? Hope you guys are doing good. I really do. You know, I tell you what, we have been having, typical Illinois weather. I mean, it really is. I mean, let's be real. You know, the motto in Illinois when it comes to weather is, if you don't like the weather, just wait 5 minutes. It'll change. You know, we've had spring storms in the middle of January, which is just craziness. You know, winter's back, probably followed next week sometime by some more summer, maybe a few more days of winter, and then we should be off in the spring relatively shortly after that. Great times down here. Just gotta love the weather. I mean, it's windy, it's cold, it sucks. It's all right though. You know, it'll be all right. So today we just got all kinds of things to talk about. You know, we're going to be talking about, of course, some of the impeachment stuff, you know, because Nancy Pelosi is finally, you know, sent on down the whole thing. We're going to be talking a little bit about the economy with the new trade deal that got signed on the same day that she sent the stuff down. And we're going to be touching base on some immigration stuff. Some exodus is going on in various states, you know, people leaving. And we're going to be touching base on talking a little bit more about salami, because salami might taste good, but the guy was kind of an asshole. Anyway, we'll touch base with him too. But first, you know, let's just go ahead and, and then also at the beginning of the next segment, we're going to be listening to the new promo, which this one. Yeah, we'll talk more before we go into the break. So that's going to be fun. So let's just go ahead and start off with the impeachment. So let's see here. We've got let's see. So yeah, finally, what was that? Thursday, maybe? Thursday she finally did that. And she did this whole signing ceremony where Nancy Pelosi had ordered these nice commemorative, celebratory pins that she used to sign, you know, it wasn't an impeachment inquiry thing because that was already done. You know, Trump's already impeached in the House, so that part of it is a done deal. But for some reason, she decided that she wanted to throw an extra step into there and take a vote on whether to send the articles over to the Senate, which to me is like, okay, you're throwing an extra step in here for absolutely no reason whatsoever, just so you can have your little party on sending the impeachment papers over. And whenever she was walking the stinking things over, it was great because I heard some theme music in the background whenever I was watching a video of her marching on over, you know, to the Senate. Oh yeah, that's what was playing. That is absolutely what was playing. It was, at least that's what was playing in my mind. That's exactly what was playing in my mind, you know. So let me kind of boil it down to you. All right. Nancy Pelosi, you know, she threw this extra step in there to celebrate, you know, and commemorative pins because it was so solemn and so meaningful that they were standing up in defense of the Constitution, the first time in Nancy Pelosi's history as serving in Congress, actually upholding the Constitution. She is demanding that the Senate violate the Constitution by putting her 2 cents in the whole thing. Because, you know, if you guys have read the Constitution, you know that the trial of impeachment is solely done by the Senate. As in, the House has absolutely no right whatsoever to try to dictate the way that they did how the Senate is going to, you know, conduct their business, because it's their business. It's not the Senate, it's the House. or I'm sorry, it's not the House's job to do this. They did what they're supposed to do. Now it's up to the Senate. The trial is solely done by the Senate. It's up to them to determine how they want to proceed, how they're going to do it. Now, hello, Lily, over there in YouTube land. Good to see you. So here's kind of what it amounts to. You know, it's up to them solely, completely, and that's it. It's up to them. Now, I wish that the Senate, upon receiving it, they just would have done a vote to say, you know, just to throw the stinking thing out. You know, we're done. We're not playing your game. We're not doing this. We're not validating what you guys did whatsoever. This is malarkey. Everybody knows it. We're not even playing the game. That's it. Okay? That's it. And, of course, Pelosi, you know, she's demanding that Mitch McConnell step down and recluse himself from the proceedings because he can't be biased, you know, or I'm sorry, he can't be non-biased. Yeah, he can't be non-biased. You know, he's going to be partisan on the proceedings and how he conducts it. But it's like, wait a second. You're saying all this and your demands, you're acting like everything that the House Democrats did was on the level. No, it wasn't on the level. It was completely partisan. It was hyper bipartisan, as in you had Democrats voting against it, but no Republicans voting for it. It's like, okay, so it was hyper bipartisan, as in it went the other way of what they were wanting. You know, like it was all on the level. And now again, it was up to the House to do everything they needed to do to put the case together, gather the evidence, and do all of that, okay? They were supposed to do that. And it's the Senate's job to kind of go through that material and go from there. That's what their job is. Now, evidently, there's not enough there's not enough Republicans in the Senate that have the testicle fortitude, that has the balls. I'll just say it that way. They don't have the balls to just throw this thing out. And they're going, oh, this wouldn't be the politically right thing to do. Wait, so you're telling me that what the House Democrats did was politically the right thing to do? It was a political hack job. That's what this whole thing is. It's a political hack job. You know what? Oh, he you know, excessive power. Wait a second. Everything that he did was on the level. Everything that he did was okay. They didn't actually accuse him of anything wrong. You know, he did his job. He did what he was supposed to do. And if you're going to say that, you know, President Trump exceeded his boundaries of the Constitution and was, you know, excessive power, you know, abuse of power, well, what about Obama? Oh, we don't want to talk about that. Oh, that's right. The history of now. We can't think about that. Oh, okay, yeah. Double standard much? Yeah, I think so. And then obstruction in Congress. It's like, wait a second. That's not even a thing. In fact, that's the president's job, is to not obstruct Congress, but do what he feels is right. You see, that's what it means to be, you know, separate but equal branches. You know, they're wanting, you know, the Senate to, you know, have all these people, you know, do all these witnesses and everything else. And in which case, some people are talking quid pro quo. If the Democrats want this person as a witness, well, then the Republicans should be able to get this person as a witness. And in which case, okay, I can agree with that. Fine, sure. You know, but on one hand, it's like, again, Democrats had their chance, or at least House Democrats had their chance, you know. If they didn't do it, well, then it must not have mattered all that much. You know, they're claiming, oh, well, you know, the executive privilege, the president wouldn't allow so-and-so to, you know, to testify. And of which case, all right, well, if you wanted him to testify so bad, is what you were supposed to do was go to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court is the, you know, the deciding factor. You know, one says do it, one says don't do it. The Supreme Court is the tiebreaker. That's their job in all this. They didn't do that. They didn't want to wait on that. So they just did it the way that they did it. Not even worry about that testimony. We'll move on with what they got. And now they're wanting the Senate to clean up the mess. Now, I would kind of, now again, I wish that, you know, House Republicans, not House Republicans, I'm sorry. I wish that Senate Republicans had the balls to just throw this thing out and say, no, we're done, acquit him, whatever. If there's going to be a trial, make it equal, make it fair. I mentioned last week, that, they should be as fair and as bipartisan as the House Democrats were through the impeachment inquiry. I don't necessarily see that happening because, let's face it, too many of these people have no balls. I'm sorry, but they don't. It's sad. It's very, very sad. I'm not going to say that. I was going to say something. I was going to say something. It was going to be funny. It was going to be really funny. But I'm not going to say that. So you have Nancy Pelosi saying, she wants McConnell to recluse himself. What about Elizabeth Warren? What about Bernie Sanders? Should they recluse himself? Now, granted, in a matter of speaking, and this is actually one of the reasons for which others have said that Nancy waited on sending the articles of impeachment over, is because they wanted to basically get Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren and whomever else is still in the race. I have no freaking clue. Get them out of the race, get them out of the presidential race to benefit Biden. And of which case, well, it makes sense. It might be true. I don't know. Because one of the things that they are demanding is that everybody in the Senate be present, be there, through this whole entire thing. So the longer the Senate drags this whole thing out, the longer that Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren is going to be, not even on the campaign trail. But at the same time, I don't think that they should even be allowed to vote. They need to recluse themselves because, let's face it, House Democrats are accusing Mitch McConnell of not being able to be bipartisan. But wait a second, if all this stuff is supposed to be on the level, if they're supposed to be doing the right thing, well, then Bernie Sanders, Elizabeth Warren, and whomever else is on there, they can't be, putting their vote in either because this is a political move. They're taking a vote to remove from office a person in the office that they are seeking. So it's like, okay, so they shouldn't even be allowed to vote anyway. Truth be told, So again, let's rewind a little bit. You got Nancy Pelosi, who was claiming to be this champion of the Constitution, demanding that the Democrats violate the Constitution by them putting forth the rules that this whole thing is going to go by. Okay, that's ridiculous. They have no right. They have no power to do so. While she violated the Constitution to do it, because let's remember, the Constitution says once it's done, they're supposed to send it without delay. This was so important. This was so meaningful. This was so urgent that they waited a month to send it over to the Senate. Okay. Yeah, I'm probably getting a copyright infringement on that. I don't even care. A few seconds, whatever. It doesn't even matter. So, that's really all I got for the impeachment thing. The whole thing is ridiculous. We all know this. Champion of the Constitution. Bullshit. Okay. Excuse me. Sorry. So we all know what's going on. That's just the next step or the next evolution, the next whatever of how everything has played out. So guys, we're going to take a quick break. When I return, we're going to, start talking about the economy a little bit. We're going to start talking about what was signed the same day that they brought these impeachment papers over to the Senate. And after the break, we are going to be listening to an amazing promo, the next in the series of promos that I'm doing. Now, guys, this wasn't even the promo I intended on doing. I'm just going to tell you that right now. This wasn't the promo I intended on doing. This was not the promo you were going to be getting. This actually came out, I got like two on the next list. I can't tell you what those are because then I'd be spoiling the fun, But I had a couple that was on the next list, and those are the ones that I was going to be doing. But, after Thursday, I was on Brandon's show, the Machine Radio Show, and we were talking about a product, a cure-all product, an amazing product. And I'm like, dude, okay, this is going to be fun. This is going to be amazing. This is going to be the promo that I do on Saturday. So right after this break, you guys are going to be able to hear that promo. Just a couple minutes, guys, and I will be right back. This is the Ho-Ho Show. Have you ever had an ailment that a normal over-the-counter remedy just couldn't fight? If this is the case, then boy, have I got the solution for you. Tussin. That's right, Tussin. Cough? Tussin. Cold? Tussin. Runny nose? Tussin. Itchy watery eyes? Tussin. Broken leg? Tussin. Tussin is the ultimate cure-all, guaranteed to stop anything that ails you. Tussin. Available wherever OTCs are sold. Oh yeah, Tussin. And welcome, Josh, over there in Facebook land. And I actually got something to tell you about. I was told by Brandon to let you know about this. A new shirt design, and I'll be getting this put on Warcat, by the way. And I'll be getting these put on. I got I think 5 or 6 shirts to put over on the website, stinkpickle.com. That is stinkpickle.com. That is, and yes, the website for the merch, Weaponized Sloth Productions, is crap. That's what it is. That's what Stink Pickle is. It's crap. So, guys, we are now going to be touching base on the economy. Now, if you guys head on over to thehohoshow.com, just click on that newsfeed tab. There you will see my magazine on Flipboard, which is my go-to hub, my one-stop shop for anything, everything, and all things news. They're not a sponsor. Neither is Tussin, actually. Neither is any of the promos that I've got. These are just, I do it for fun because it entertains me. And I'm hoping it entertains you, too. I think it's funny. Hey, I got a new follow over there in Mixer. Thank you, Chris 10 on Mixer. I appreciate that. Awesome. And so yeah, I've got that magazine on there. You guys can check out all the
this is okay. Yeah.
That's where I put all the articles that I use for the show. Sometimes I have a hard time speaking. I really do. So you've got, where did that thing go? Yeah, Dems, I mean, they are just totally, just ignoring everything of what's going on, in the economy. I mean, we've got some amazing numbers going on right now. Amazing number on the job participation rate. Again, just all across the board, minorities, best ones that they've ever seen in history. We've got the lowest, unemployment. I seen this thing going back from like Reagan. and President Trump has, since Reagan, the lowest unemployment rate through any of their presidencies. It's pretty amazing. But, the Dems, they're basically just denying all this is going on. So on the same day that Nancy Pelosi signed the thing to transfer the articles of impeachment over to the Senate, President Trump signed a new trade deal. And have you guys ever heard the adage, the saying of, the salesman is so good he can sell ice to an Eskimo? Have you heard that? Have you heard that? Trump did it. Dude, Trump did it. He sold rice to China. Are you kidding me? I heard that and I'm just like, that is absolutely hilarious. Trump selling rice to China. That was great. I thought it was funny. I couldn't contain it. I laughed out loud. Literally. LLOL. Literally laughed out loud. That's what I did. I thought it was hilarious. I was like, dude, there's no way. I forget some of the numbers on this. But I mean, let's just face it, guys. If you guys have been paying attention to the stock market, what it has been doing over the past 3 years, okay? If you guys have been paying attention to it, it's been going up. It's the highest that it's been in quite some time, and with this new trade deal, it's only looking to go up even more. This is going to be a huge boost to the economy on the agricultural side, definitely. It's going to mean more jobs. It's going to mean even lower unemployment. It's going to mean some good things, so it's just good stuff. I got another one. Thank you, Mikey Famine, Milky Famine. Oh, that's hilarious. Got a new follow on that, and thank you very much for the follow, by the way. And he asked a good question. He goes, how is the president responsible for the stock market? Well, I'm glad that you asked. Well, one, with this trade deal, opening up new trade with whatever billions of dollars that he just basically sold to China to, that's going to boost the economy. That's going to boost the sales, which is going to up the stock market. He's done a lot of things as far as deregulating and, making it easier for certain things to be sold, certain things to be produced, and of which case, whenever you have more things to buy, more people that are able to buy them, is going to be a boost to the economy. You guys look at the unemployment numbers, you guys look at the labor participation numbers, all these equal jobs, all these equal more people having more money, and all this equals a boost to the economy, which is going to raise the stock market. That's what all of this means. It's all good for everybody. It is definitely all good for everybody. That's how the president, by deregulation, by doing these type of trade deals with phase one to China, that's what all this means to people. It's more money in the economy, which boosts the stock market, which helps everybody out. Short answer, there you go. I guess that's a short answer. I have no idea. So I've also been paying attention a little bit in what's going on over in Virginia. And guys, I tell you what, it's, things have been heating up over there. If you guys haven't been paying attention, you have the, you've got the governor of Virginia talking about gun confiscation, talking about using the National Guard in order to knock door to door. You've got, even the UN, hiring soldiers, training them in gun confiscation, English speaking. These things look bad. They definitely look bad, and, it was also one of them aspects of, the governor even sounding like, Dolph Lundgren in Rocky IV, if they die, then they die. Talking about people whenever they go door to door to pick up the guns. This all just looks bad. It just completely looks bad. He was even talking about, and I talked about this last week too. He was even talking about, like during this gun confiscation, if they ever decided to actually do it, about turning off the internet, cell phones, all kinds of communications to where people can't get the word out on what's going on in Virginia to kind of rally the troops and get public awareness up on what's going on and, stuff of that nature. So very bad things in Virginia, but in a matter of speaking, the troops have been rallying on Virginia's side. There has been an uptick in, people's awareness. I guess President Trump is going to be over in Virginia shortly, if not already. Doing the town hall meetings and whatnot and basically in support of the Second Amendment. So all this is looking good in a matter of speaking. Honestly, I don't think any of this is going to happen. I really don't. I think they're just trying to maybe in a matter of speaking, just kind of test the waters on this to see if they're going to be able to do it, which I don't think is going to end all that well at all. Mikey puts a good point in here, or Milky. Mikey or Milky? Let me read that. MLK. Okay, whatever. He says the unemployment numbers are askew because more people have more than one job. Well, this is true. This is true that more people do have more than one jobs. However, the unemployment number, they are askew, but for a different reason. Because the unemployment numbers don't measure people who are chronically unemployed. The only thing that the unemployment numbers are actually reading are those people whom are receiving basically unemployment benefits. Like if you are on unemployment, then those numbers are Mikey, sweet. It's way over there. Sometimes I have a hard time. The type on that isn't all that, yeah, whatever. So, but so they are askew, but that's why, only people whom are actually on unemployment getting the unemployment benefits are the ones whom are, counted in the unemployment number. So, unemployment numbers have always been askew. Ever since they've been looking at unemployment numbers, they've always been skewed, but they've always been skewed in the same direction, not counting the chronically unemployed, not counting people whom are not receiving benefits. But even still, you have less people on unemployment. Now, whether that means this is people whom, did get a job that wasn't previously had a job, or whether these are people that fell off, either way you look at it, since Reagan, you have the lowest unemployment numbers. Either way you look at it, you still have the smallest amount of unemployment that English, mother. I'll cut that. I forgot I didn't beep that or anything like that. So he's like, I stream too. I feel you. Yeah, sometimes it's just hard to read them stinking names. They get kind of, and something, dude, me and like not having spaces in there, so yeah. But yeah, that's what we're looking at with Virginia. Again, I don't really think a whole heck of a lot is going to happen from it. I really don't. Yes, it looks bad. The optics are horrible. I'm not going to deny that. And you do have, the militia stepping up. You've got people that are stepping up going, no, this isn't going to happen, and definitely, yeah, it looks bad. He puts in here, I'm actually glad you brought this up. He says, I think the wages rising would be a better measure. And, all right, are you talking like, the minimum wage being raised or just wages in general, across the board? Because honestly, I got to admit, I really don't see like, the minimum wage being raised to $15 an hour. I don't see that helping, for the simple fact is, you look at it this way. It's like a, free market capitalism. Okay. You have, the prices of certain goods are based off of supply and demand. Okay. If you want to keep good employees to stay longer, you have to pay them according to what they are worth, according to, the job that they are doing, in accordance to you wanting them to stay, to where they don't get a job somewhere else, a better paying job somewhere else. You have to pay that. Okay. Somebody who's flipping a burger in McDonald's, somebody that, you don't have to go to school to do this, somebody that, your job can be easily taken by a machine if you arbitrarily raise, the wage, because it's not an on demand, it's not a highly educated, type of thing, but if you do that, what people don't realize is a business isn't going to just eat the cost of that higher wage. it's going to filter down to the customer. Everything does. Price of fuel, price of, transportation on getting the product from point A to point B. All these things are all these things are paid for, not by the business owner. It's all paid for by the consumer. So all you're going to have, if you just arbitrarily raise the minimum wage up with the market not being able to bear it, you're going to have the prices of these things that people are buying all across the board, not just, in one sector, but in every sector. The prices are going to go up. So yeah, this $15 an hour, if you raise it from 8 and whatever it is now, I got to be honest, I don't know what it is right now. If you raise it, everything's going to go up. It might be good for a week. It might be good for 2 weeks. It might even be good for a month. You're going to have that extra money, but eventually, and very hard, everything's going to balance out. The market's going to correct because of the imbalance, and all the prices are going to go up, and you're not going to be any better than what you was before. I mean, let's face it, guys. Minimum wage isn't something that is supposed to be the end all as far as wage. It's a starting point. It's a point by which you start. It's not the place that you're supposed to rest on. It's not the place that you are supposed to be at. And yeah, it's not going to support a household. Of course it's not going to support a household. Minimum wage was never intended on supporting a household. This is a minimum wage by which people who are just getting into the workforce has to work for. Because most people that are just getting into the workforce are, I don't want to say uneducated, but it's not generally speaking, it's not a specialty type of a job. Flipping a burger at McDonald's is different than welding. It's different than a mechanic. It's different than a lot of different things. It's different than, somebody who, drives an ambulance. It's different. It's a different type of a job. It's not a specialized job like those other jobs. So you're not going to get to pay for it. It's just not, And I'm not saying that a living wage isn't important, but generally speaking, people at the bottom don't really. All right, let me try to put this. I almost didn't put this right. Generally people at the bottom are people whom are just getting into the workplace. These are people whom are, in high school or just getting out of high school that are sometimes still living on somebody else's dime, still living with mom and dad, still living, with a bunch of roommates, whatever the case may be. That's generally what you have whenever you're talking about this stuff with people on the bottom. People on the bottom don't need a living wage because they're not the ones who are, in a matter of speaking, supporting the household. The parents are, and together, if you're living with other people, sharing the cost, there you have a living wage, within the household, That's factually incorrect. Well, like I said, it's not like completely 100% all across the board, but generally speaking, that's what you have. And generally speaking, that's what, the minimum wage was put in there for. If you want, fact of the matter is, if you want more money, then get a trade, work up, get an education to get a job that is needed, that is going to grant you that more money. Unless you're in management, unless you're high up like that, I'm sorry, but if you're flipping burgers at McDonald's, you don't deserve a minimum wage. What have you done to earn it? It's like, I'm sorry, but that's just an aspect of like, dude, if you want more money, then make yourself a better employee. Make yourself somebody whom a business would want to keep, go to get a trade. Go to a trade school, learn how to weld, learn how to do, this, that, and the other. Be a mechanic, be a diesel mechanic. There's all kinds of things that you can do to move up in employment to get, a living wage or more than a living wage, Yeah, Josh said you shouldn't try to make it a career. But that's the thing though too. If you want to make, McDonald's a career, you can move up in it. It's not like that, you start working and you're flipping burgers and then that's the only place you go. You can make a lot of money at McDonald's, once you get into upper management and different things like that. Same with working at any job like that. You move up. As you move up, you're going to make more money. You're going to learn more. You're going to learn more about the business, learn more about what's going on. You're going to make yourself a better employee, make yourself a more valuable employee, and of which case you're going to make money, and you're going to work your way up and work your way up, and that's how it's supposed to be done. But starting off on the bottom means you're starting off at the bottom. That means bottom pay, though, too. It's a sad thing. And I'm not saying that there's not people whom are, get put in that situation from one thing, due to one thing or another. And I'm not saying that's not sad, because it is, but, minimum wage is in there for a reason, to start and to stay. That's not what it was intended for, so. That's funny. All right, moving on. So let's see here. That's hilarious, Penguin. That's funny. It's not going to happen, but it's funny. Let's see here. Let's actually move on into immigration. Yeah, we'll move into immigration. We're going to take a quick break, and then when we return, we are going to talk about that. All right, welcome back to the Ho Ho Show. So, guys, we've got immigration. We've got another caravan heading north that looked like it formed around San Pedro Sula, Honduras, and I think a couple other places, traveling north towards the Guatemalan border. So, but the Department of Homeland Security says that we are ready this time. You see, they've done a lot of things here recently, signing agreements with Mexico and a couple other places with immigrants that are seeking asylum in the U.S., which is amazing that this is the first time that anything like this has been thought of. Okay, they now have agreements with Mexico, agreements with, I think Guatemala is one of them. There might be a couple others in there as well. But instead of just allowing, the migrants to flow north, come into the U.S., get their asylum, go to the, whatever hearing, and then schedule the court date that might be 2 years later and not show up. Instead of that, especially whenever catch and release really isn't going on too much anymore. Now they are being held south of the border. Now they're seeking their asylum, going to the U.S. Embassy as it should be, seeking asylum the right way as they should be. So now, things are looking better on that front. That's not to say that we still don't need a wall, because not that long ago they had a couple hundred people that they stopped, and there was a butt ton of, drugs in their possession that they had and whatnot. So, this might have been, I don't remember where this was at. Never mind. I don't remember where that was at, but this wasn't really all that long ago. So, it's definitely an aspect of, yes, we do need the border wall. Yes, things are getting better. Yes, what President Trump had, talked to Mexico about as far as, keeping immigrants down there is definitely helping out, especially whenever you hear things like what happened in New York City with the 92-year-old woman that was raped and murdered from somebody whom, crossed the border, violent crime, released, maybe even multiple times. I know it was definitely once. And the excuse that he said was like, oh, it wasn't me that did it. I fell, my belt buckle broke, my pants fell down, and that happened. She was raped, she was abused, and she ended up dying from her, dying from the assault. Guy was caught, and if it wasn't for these sanctuary cities, this type of thing probably wouldn't have happened. Yeah. Yeah. No, my phone vibrated. So, yeah, but we're definitely needing a moving somebody from America is a ring of Neptune. Technically, is still deportation. What? Oh, they're having a discussion in there. Okay, cool. So, but yeah, it's what's been going on, and this, I really wish I could remember. It was like a week ago, I think, whenever I read what, that the deal that President Trump made with some of these, countries down south as far as holding refugees there instead of just flat letting them, come on up across the border, and it's a step in the right direction. It really is. That's one of the things that has annoyed me for quite some time whenever it comes to illegal immigration. It's like, dude, we are a nation of laws. We can't be a sovereign nation without laws. We can't be a sovereign nation without borders. We can't be a sovereign nation without borders that are protected. We can't be that without the other. We need that, And, you've got a lot of people there that are talking about, oh, we need this, that, and the other. And, once they're across, what do you expect them to do? And all this other kind of good stuff. And I've heard some great arguments, and, even Ilhan Omar was, put in her place by like, we have laws. Nobody's telling them to break it. There's a right way to do things, and that's all that we're asking. And exactly, that's all that we're asking from people is, honor our laws, do it the right way. That's all you got to do. Do it the right way. And they keep saying time and time again that the immigration process is broken. It's harder and harder to become an American, and this system is broken. It's like, okay, so let me ask you this. Why then, time and time again, every single time the argument comes up, why is it always amnesty? Why is it always a sanctuary city? Why haven't Congress, since Reagan and before, why have you not done something to fix immigration, to fix the system? If you keep saying that the system is broken, well, then fix it. You guys are the ones who are supposed to do that, are you not? Yes, they are. That's what the Constitution says. Then why don't you fix it? Why is it anytime the problem comes up, why is it amnesty and not a border wall? And that's one of the things that cracks me up with President Trump, because if you guys remember, President Reagan, they said amnesty. Reagan said, give me a wall, I'll give you amnesty. And then they compromised. It was a compromise. He said, okay, fine. You guys do it. You guys can have the amnesty. Give me the border wall. There you go. But the border wall never got built. Never got done. Once they signed the thing, it was like, excuse after excuse why it couldn't be done. And it never happened, And now, fast forwarding, same type of thing came up. Give us amnesty. We'll give you what? President Trump said, no, we've done this before. You guys have done this before. President Reagan, you guys got the amnesty. We never got the wall. Why don't you give me the wall first? And then maybe we'll talk about the amnesty. Maybe then we'll talk about the illegal immigration. Until then, I don't want to hear it. And of which case, congrats. It's about time somebody turns the game, turns the game on its head and start making them play by their own rules. Yes. Building a wall is impractical. Not exactly. Not exactly. And there's more to border protection than just a wall. Fence, different type of monitoring systems, which they've used in quite a few different, aspects of it. It doesn't have to just be a wall, not across the entire border. There's a lot of other things that you can do. But even still, when a, huge wall isn't practical, well, there's still different types of barriers that you can use, different types of things to dissuade people from crossing the border. So, yeah. Dude, that's true with any wall. Any wall can be climbed over. Any wall can be dug under. But fact of the matter is that, yes, a wall does help. Look at some of the border cities, down in Texas that has a wall. It helps. It definitely helps. In those areas, yeah, there's not a lot of people crossing. I'm not saying that there's no people crossing. There's not anybody that hasn't figured out a way over it or under it or whatever, but it helps. It does help solve the problem. Let's get into Soleimani. Let's talk about salami a little bit. I like calling it salami. There are people out there, and I got to admit, for me, it's kind of agitating and kind of irritating. They call this, this strike on salami an assassination. Okay. I disagree, but okay. And a lot of people, I guess some of the people whom are saying this don't necessarily understand assassination. Or at least the not legality behind it. What am I looking for? Words. In order for it to be an assassination, it's got to be a political leader, president, parliament, whatever they have in there, in Iran, it's got to be that. Or a military general, things of that nature. Okay. People whom are within those type of things, just killing the person, is frowned upon. You're not supposed to do that. That would be an assassination. Okay. So now, of course, you're saying, well, Salami was he was a general. Okay, sure. Well, if you're saying that, if you're saying that it is an assassination, you are basically wanting to have your cake and eat it too. Because in order for it to be an assassination, he would have to be a general who is operating under the leadership of his government. And of which case, Salami attacking, our embassy in Baghdad, him killing, 600 plus Americans and thousands of others, that he did all this under the blanket of his government. And of which case, then you're talking about Iran declaring war on the United States of America. That's what you're talking about. And of which case, the last country that openly did that was Japan. Just saying. So are they claiming that Salami was that, operating under the guise of the Iranian government under direct order? No, they're basically saying that, not saying that he was, operating rogue as a terrorist, but that's what he was doing. He was operating as a terrorist. Therefore, President Trump ordering the killing of Salami was no different than President Obama ordering the killing of bin Laden. There's no difference. That wasn't considered an assassination. Not at all. That was considered a response to an attack. That's what it was considered. Let's see here. Oh, okay. Moving on. I don't have a lot to add on that one. Which resulted in an assassination. But even still, no. Anyway, that's really all I got, guys. Almost an hour. Not quite. So, guys, I thank you very much for stopping in. Thank you very much for joining the show and commenting and everything else. Don't forget to hit the like button if you guys liked it. Follow me everywhere and whatnot. All that other kind of good stuff. So, good night. Sleep tight. And if the bed bugs bite, well then, bite them back. Take care. This has been The Ho-Ho Show. For more information, you can head to thehohoshow.com. And for the merchandise store, you can head on over to stinkpickle.com. That is stinkpickle.com. Until next time.